Hey guys, Curtis here, tip of the day number 41. If you haven't seen 40, I highly recommend you go check it out because it's the most important shot in pool. If you want to be a better pool player, I don't care what level you're at, you have to be able to master 40, tip of the day 40. It's the free throws of pool. If you're a basketball player, you need to shoot your free throws. Well, if you're a pool player and you want to get better, you need to master the video tip number 40. This is a more advanced version to refine the things that we did in 40. This will really refine your alignment, your follow through, and your stance, but also staying still. This is a video. What I want you to do, there's 3 stripes, 3 solids. You line this up perfectly straight, frozen on the rail. You want to make this is a lot harder than it looks, and follow the cue ball into the pocket if you can. If you don't, no problem, you move on to the next one, but you got to make the ball. If you don't make it, you set it back up, and you judge your results. I'm going to give you one little tip. This was Ron Benedict, the cue maker in Toronto, had mentioned this to me. This is he could probably go a little more into detail if you ever message him. But he was telling about how when you're on the rail, remember that this does compress. We've done videos on that, how this compresses. So you can't actually push right through this. So in some respects, from a mental perspective, when you're on the rail, you have a little more margin for error than you think. And some of the top pros dabble in actually feeling it push through this. They get some stability with that. That's something that you can play with. Me, what I do, this is all about my alignment again. So if you check out video 40, you notice that I am naturally forced, I'm being pulled in this direction due to my dominant eye. So when I'm lined up, I know that I tend to overcut this. So I have to, that's why I put it over this eye here, so that my alignment is slightly, for me, straight on is not straight on. And this is a big problem with a lot of players. So what I want you to do is learn your alignment issues and adjust it. For me, I line up over, let's just, if you can envision on this side, because my natural straight is actually aiming into here a little bit. Almost all of us are being pulled in a direction that we're not aware of. So in order to cure that, you set up shots like in 40 or in this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to line this up. This is a lot harder than it looks, but you stick with it and gauge your results. I would go, you see how I stay perfectly still on that? I followed through and I watched my results. Then I would go to here. Line this up perfectly straight. If you don't make it, you got to set it back up. And what you're trying to do is you're going to do all 8 of these, like in 7 stripes or 6 stripes and an 8 ball, so 7. If you have a bigger table, you can actually line up maybe more, but the object is to see how many you can do in a row, make, and if you want to take it to that next level, how many you can follow through perfectly. So I'm at 1 and 1. I'm going to line myself up here perfectly. But again, you can't do this shot unless you're hitting it like really well. Then you would go over to here. So I'm not getting into we could do a video on how I shoot off of a rail. I have actually a bit of a different philosophy than most. Most people choke right up and keep it real short. You can't do that with this. I've actually learned this from C.J. Wiley, an incredible pool player in the 90s. And he said this myth that you got to choke up and keep it real. So that does work, but it's limiting and it's also changing for something that's actually not necessary. And the reason he says that is because people then are too close. They change everything. The truth is, if your bridge is nice and level, if you're level and your alignment, you shouldn't have to change your stroke too much. Okay? So that, to me, when I'm hitting real good, is I'm on the rail, I'm worried, I don't change much. I just adjust, so I'm super comfy. My alignment, it would be exactly like I'm doing any other shot. I might choke up a little more here, that's possible, but I don't change my follow through. I don't punch it, and this drill teaches you this because you don't just cinch balls. You gotta make it and follow it all the way through here. So you gotta stroke it a bit. Trust me, when you start doing this drill, and you do it till you do all the balls, and see what your record is, right, then do it. If you start doing this, following through, shooting off the rail is gonna become very comfy, and your entire alignment is gonna become, another thing it does, is it teaches you a nice little pause and follow through. You know, you can't really like jack into this, so it's not a fast and loose shot, which a lot of us could probably benefit from. So it's a nice follow through, a nice pause and follow through. You're hitting dead center and you're staying perfectly still as you follow that ball. This drill will cure a lot of your alignment problems. You'll start shooting off the rail with a lot more ease, okay? So I highly recommend that. What I would see how many you can do in a row. If you could start with how many you can make in a row, because it's tougher than it looks, and then see what your record is for how many you can make and follow perfectly. But for now, what I want you to at least do when you come to warm up is line these up and make them perfectly straight. Don't worry about if you actually follow the cue ball in to move on to the next one, but you got to line it up straight and stay perfectly still till you make the ball, judge your results, and then when you make the ball, move on to the next one. When you've done the line, then go on to something else. But you'll see, if you do the line and you stick, this might take you 10, 15 minutes depending on your level, but once you stick with it and you can do the line, watch what that does for your game, your alignment, your follow through. All of it comes together, okay? So we can work a little bit more on how to shoot off a rail maybe in another video, but this is an exercise for you to try before league. And trust me when I tell you this is going to improve your obviously shooting off the rail, but everything else falls into place when you do this, okay? So that's video number 41. Last thing, I wanted to mention that every Friday morning I'm going to be doing a video once a week, and it's going to be about legends. It's going to be called Canadian Pool Gods, and I'm going to start with, I've already ranked who I thought was the top 20 pool players of all time in Canada, but I'm going to start doing a little bio on each one of them, and hopefully eventually maybe do an interview with them. But I'm going to start every Friday in the morning at 9 o'clock. I'm going to release called Canadian Pool Gods. It's going to be like a little 5 to 10 minute video. It's a buy-up of some of the players that maybe you've never heard of. Everybody knows John Mora, Alex Pagulayan, but trust me, there's some amazing pool players that have come through Canada that maybe some of you haven't heard of, people that have got some amazing stories. I was lucky enough to come through. I've kind of transitioned into both, so I've gotten to see all the awesome players in the 90s and 2000s, and now the awesome players like Johnny and Alex as well, and Eric Horlifson, Jason Klatt, but they can also tell you that there's a lot of Canadian pool talent that a lot of players don't know, and I'm going to go through what those guys, and they're going to call them Canadian, it's a series that's going to be called Canadian Pool Gods. Okay, so that'll be every Friday morning at 9 o'clock. Check that, it'll be once a week, and I'm going to do a little bio called Canadian Pool Gods. Thanks a lot.